All right, wrapping up today's show with a story that just like the Grinch when he realizes the joys of Christmas in Whoville, just makes your heart grow about five, I think it's three sizes that day. But LaMichael James is going to be inaugurated as a member of the College Football Hall of Fame for the class of 2023. I am not saying that numbers are irrelevant, but for this particular metric, they somewhat are because, in my view, though he's not the all time leading rusher in program history, he is the best Oregon running back I have ever seen. He's probably the best Oregon running back most of you have ever seen. And Max, this is just such a really great thing to see because he was part of that era of Oregon football that really brought the Ducks onto the national stage. He was at the center of everything they were doing. Yeah, it was Chip Kelly. Yeah, Masoli and Thomas were good quarterbacks, but you need players, and he was there for three glorious seasons of running, and this is just such a well-earned honor and such a great thing for Duck fans to see too, to see him going in at the same time as guys like Reggie Bush.
Yeah, it's definitely an awesome story for Duck fans and for LaMichael James, right? One of the best players that I doubt in Oregon football history, Heisman finalist, Doak Walker Award winner as the best running back in the country. He really just did it all for Oregon, and I think really kind of set the college football world on fire with his play. I tend to remember when I think of LaMichael James, I hope it's the right game, but I had a memory, or I had a time when I was a little sick. I was feeling under the weather one day. I think it was in middle school. I want to say it was the 2010 season against Stanford, and I was at my grandparents' house. And like that was kind of when I was like just starting to get into Oregon football. I'm a little embarrassed to say that because there are a lot of people in this space that have been following the Ducks a whole lot longer than I have. Maybe it was because I grew up in the Bay Area, so everyone was talking about Stanford and Andrew Luck, Christian McCaffrey. But I was watching that game, and I mean, Michael James just was on an absolute tear. And I'm looking at the stats right now. He had 31 carries for 257 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So that was kind of one of those plays that really piqued my interest and, kind of made me get into Oregon football and a memory I'm going to hold on to for a while. So he's a special player. And I think someone that always comes to mind when you're talking about the running back position at Oregon, and definitely a well-deserved honor for him.
And when you think of just the best players in the history of Oregon football, it's Mariota 1. It's probably LaMichael James number 2. I mean, there are a lot of different names you could throw in there. Akili Smith, Joey Harrington. I mean, like the list goes on. But LaMichael's up there, and he's a very special player to me because when I was a kid growing up and really falling in love with the Ducks and Oregon football, LaMichael was right there at the center of it. And took over after that unfortunate scene in Boise that we all remember, but took advantage of the opportunity and really literally ran with it, metaphorically as well. So happy for LaMichael, happy that Duck fans get to enjoy all that stuff, and always happy that we get my man Max Torres. Oh wait, one more LaMichael memory before we wrap today's show. My mom actually sent my brother and I and a couple of our friends this memory from Apple Photos of a trip we took in 2011 down to Stanford for that game that was like 52-30 was the final or something like that. Easily one of the best trips of my entire childhood, of which I'm fortunate to say there were several. Going down there, and we hung in the bay for a few days and did all sorts of fun stuff, and then went to that game, and LaMichael was kind of bottled up early, and then he got loose, and then the floodgates were open, and Chip went for it on 4th and 6, and that screen pass to DeAnthony. Everything was great. One of my favorite Oregon football memories, bar none. And I'll keep making them here on the show with all of you and my man Max Torres, who covers the Ducks for Fan Nation at Sports Illustrated. Also hosts the Ducks Dish podcast. You got to check him out on Twitter. He's got the scoops on the recruiting trail and then some. Max, good to finally get you back on the pod. Duck fans, give him some grief for staying away for so long.
Well, thanks for having me on, Spencer. Always fun to be back. I got to get you on my show now. Been having some technical difficulties, but we're going to work through those and get it all resolved. So Pleasure to be on here. Huge time for Oregon. And as you know, recruiting doesn't stop, and I'm here for every moment of it. I love it.
24/7, 365. This show, as you know, 5 days a week. Appreciate everyone listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.